Ever get that feeling like you're walking away from something and you just don't even look back?
Oh, yeah.
I had it once, I swear. This awful summer job, washing dishes.
Oh, no.
Yeah, greasy diner. The second my last shift ended,
What?
I bolted. Didn't stop for miles.
Just had to get away.
Totally.
Huh.
Had to put some serious distance between me and that place.
Yeah, that urge to just disconnect,
Yeah.
to create some space.
Yeah.
When you're that unhappy,
Yeah.
it's pretty basic, right?
Mm.
Human experience, I mean. Often I think it's a sign
Mm.
that something's really off
Mm-hmm.
between what's going on inside you
Yeah.
and what's going on around you, like a clash or something.
That's a good way to put it. And that feeling, that's kind of the heart of what we're getting into today.
Okay.
You know, we're doing this deep dive into The Catcher in the Rye, some excerpts you picked out.
Right, right.
Specifically, Holden Caulfield leaving Pensy Prep. Now, this book, it's told in what's called a first-person narrative. So everything, we're getting it straight from Holden Wright. His thoughts, his opinions, no filter.
There.
So, you know, got to keep that in mind. Everything we talk about, it's all colored by how he sees things.
Absolutely. I mean, we are seeing the world through Holden's eyes,
Yeah.
which, let's be honest,
Yeah.
is a pretty unique way to see things.
Unique is one word for it.
Uh-huh.
So our goal today, we're really trying to dig into why Holden felt he had to leave Pensy.
Okay.
Like, why so suddenly, and then what happens right after those first few hours.
I'm with you.
Hopefully, by looking at that, we can shed some light on what it feels like to be a teenager, right?
Sure.
That feeling of not fitting in, of wanting something real,
Hmm.
when everything around you just feels so fake.
Especially at that age, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
It could also resonate with anyone who's felt out of sync, like they're on the outside looking in.
Okay, so Pensy Prep. Right off the bat, Holden gives us this picture that's totally opposite of
Yeah.
what the school's trying to sell. He calls it strictly for the birds. But they're fancy ads. They're all, look at this hotshot guy on a horse jumping fences.
Right, trying to project this.
Yeah, this whole sophisticated polo scene,
I
right?
see this image.
But the thing is,
Yeah.
Holden says he never even saw a single horse the whole time he was there.
Not one.
Not one. So right away, he's pointing out this inauthenticity,
Right, that disconnect. It's like a central theme for him.
Exactly.
The image versus reality.
And under all those horses and stuff, the ads are saying things like,
What, like their mission statement?
yeah, like molding boys into splendid, clear-thinking young men since 1888 or whatever.
Catch.
But Holden's not buying it. He's like, they don't do any more molding at Pensy than any other school.
Uh-huh.
And he's like, I didn't meet anyone there who was so splendid or clear-thinking, maybe one or two guys at most.
Uh-huh.
And even then, he's like, they were probably that way before they even got to Pensy.
That cynicism, that questioning of, the system.
Yeah.
That's so classic teenage. Well, he's already skeptical, of what the adult world's trying to sell. Makes you wonder, what's he already been through?
Right at that age. Okay, so then we get to the day he leaves. It's the big football game. Pensy versus Saxon Hall. This is supposed to be, like, the biggest event. Like, if Pensy loses, you're practically supposed to be in mourning.
I get it. The pressure.
But where's Holden? Up on Thompson Hill?
Okay.
By this old cannon from, like, the Revolutionary War or something?
He's not with the crowd.
No. He's watching the game from way up there, totally detached.
It's interesting, right? That distance he puts between himself and the action. It's like he's observing, like he's studying them.
Like an outsider.
Yeah, like some anthropologist or something.
So he can hear the Pensy side yelling. He describes it as this deep and terrific roar.
Mm-hmm.
Because practically the whole school's there.
That makes sense.
But the Saxon Hall side, he says it sounds scrawny and faggy because visiting teams, they rarely brought a lot of supporters.
Yeah.
Which, already tells you something about how he's seeing things.
Right. His perspective is skewed from the start.
He also mentions it's funny how there are no girls at the game.
None.
Well, except for the ones seniors were allowed to bring. But he says, he prefers to be places where you can at least see a few girls around.
Okay.
Even if they're just doing normal stuff like scratching their arms or blowing their noses. He even brings up Selma Thurmer.
Who's that?
The headmaster's daughter. She was around a lot, but wasn't considered particularly attractive. But he actually thought she was nice and kind of felt sorry for her.
That's interesting.
Right. Like, it seems like a random detail.
Yeah.
But it actually shows you something about Holden. He's looking for these genuine, like, unfiltered moments.
Yeah, like real interactions, even if it's just watching people.
Exactly. He's drawn to the ordinary stuff, Maybe because it feels more real to him than this whole forced enthusiasm at the game.
I can see that. Like, the mundane feels more authentic somehow.
Yeah, exactly. So he's deliberately choosing to be apart from all that school spirit,
Uh-huh.
unlike everyone else who's all caught up in it. And physically, he's not doing so hot either.
What do you mean?
He says he has no wind. Turns out he's a heavy smoker, or at least he was.
Ooh.
And get this, the year before, he'd grown like 6.5 inches.
Oh.
Yeah, huge growth spurt, even had to go to the doctor for it. So even his body is in this weird, awkward in-between phase, right?
Yeah, I get it. It's like his physical state being out of breath and that disconnect from his own body.
Right.
It mirrors what's going on emotionally.
Yeah,
Out of sync.
totally. Then comes the part where he actually leaves. He runs toward the main gate, stops for a second to catch his breath,
Okay.
and then takes off again across this icy road, Route 204, almost wipes out.
Oh, no.
Yeah, he doesn't even really know why he's running, just this impulse.
It's gotta go.
And after he gets across the road, he has this powerful feeling. He says he sort of disappeared.
That's a strong image. Disappearing.
Yeah,
It says a lot, right?
about feeling invisible.
Yeah, like not belonging. Maybe even wanting to shed that identity. The pressure of it all. And it's a cold, sunless afternoon. It just adds to it, you know?
To the isolation.
Okay.
Okay, so next thing he does, he goes to see his history teacher, Mr. Spencer. Now, what Holden thinks about Mr. Spencer, it's really interesting.
What do you mean?
Mr. Spencer's like 70, all stooped over.
Oh.
Can't even pick up his chalk when he drops it, so the students have to do it. And Holden, he finds himself thinking, like, what's the point? What's Mr. Spencer still living for at that age?
Kind of harsh.
It is, but he insists he doesn't mean it in a cruel way.
I
It's
know.
more like he's just puzzled by it.
Like a kid. Just
Yeah, like a raw curiosity mixed with, you know, typical teenage bluntness. He's struggling with these big questions about aging, what it all means,
Right.
but seeing it from the perspective of someone who feels so far away from that stage of life.
Yeah.
Now, it's not all bad. He remembers this one really nice thing about Mr. Spencer. They were in class once, and Mr. Spencer showed them this old Navajo blanket
Okay.
that he and his wife had bought in Yellowstone Park. And Holden remembers how much Mr. Spencer loved that blanket. Got a big bang out of buying it, he says.
Huh. So it's not all doom and gloom?
No, exactly. It shows that Holden, even with all his cynicism,
Yeah.
can see and appreciate those little moments of joy in other people.
True. Even if it's about something as simple as a blanket.
Exactly. But then their conversation shifts to
Apart.
why Holden's actually leaving. Mr. Spencer knows about it. He got a letter from Dr. Thurmer. He asks Holden, have you told your parents yet?
Ooh.
And Holden's like, nope, not yet. Planning to tell them when he gets home in a few days.
Procrastinating.
Totally.
Yes,
Mr. Spencer's like, oh, they're going to be pretty irritated. Holden agrees. He even mentions this is like the 4th school he's gotten kicked out of.
4 schools.
Yeah, this pattern of not fitting in, it's starting to become pretty clear.
It's a red flag.
And here's the interesting part. Holden knows he's got issues. He admits that he sometimes acts younger than he is. He's 16, almost 17.
Yeah, that age.
He even knows he has a lousy vocabulary.
Huh?
And he's aware of how much he says boy all the time and that weird head shaking thing he does.
Everyone's got their quirks.
He even mentions having a patch of gray hair on one side of his head.
Gray hair. It's 17.
Yeah, he's had it since he was a kid. It's this weird thing, you know?
Yeah, that physical maturity.
The gray hair, his height.
But then emotionally still immature.
Right, it's like he's caught in between, you know?
Not a kid, not an adult.
And feeling the pressure from both sides.
Of course, then that phoniness thing pops up again. What sets him off this time?
The word grand. He can't stand it, calls it phony. And then Spencer starts to get all lectury, you know, and Holden's like, I gotta get out of here. He can't handle it. The whole predictable moralizing, the smell of Vicks nose drops,
Oh, yeah.
and the image of Mr. Spencer in his pajamas and bathrobe. Too much.
It's too much.
Yes.
These little details, they really show how uncomfortable he is.
Yeah, they become these symbols of everything he hates, you know?
The phoniness.
Right, like his senses are on high alert, picking up on anything fake.
It's like his radar's going on.
Exactly.
Now, here's something else. When he's talking to Mr. Spencer, Holden starts thinking about the ducks in Central Park.
The ducks.
Yeah, the ones in that lagoon. He's wondering where they go in the winter when the water freezes over.
Interesting.
He asks, you know, does someone take them to a zoo? Do they fly away somewhere warmer?
He's really fixated on this.
He is, and it comes up again later in the book, so it's not just some random thought.
It's a motif, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Those ducks, they represent this uncertainty, you know?
I see.
Like, what happens to them? Where did they go? Yeah. It mirrors how Holden feels about his own life.
It's a bigger question, yeah.
Yeah, like he doesn't know what his future holds.
Right, that fear of the unknown. Totally. Okay, so as Holden's leaving, Mr. Spencer says these parting words, "You will, boy. You will when it's too late."
Ooh, ominous.
And Holden hates hearing that. He says it makes him feel like he's already dead or something.
Makes sense.
And it leaves him feeling really depressed about what's to come.
It feeds that fear of the future.
Yeah, and maybe this feeling, deep down,
Right.
that he's already messing up his life.
And he's so young.
It is pretty bleak. Anyway, right after that visit, Holden admits something. He's a terrific liar.
Uh-huh.
And to prove it, he immediately tells us that his excuse for leaving Mr. Spencer about needing to get equipment from the gym,
Right.
totally made up. And this isn't a one-time thing. It's like a habit for him.
Lying. Why do you think he does that?
It's like a shield, right?
Okay.
He uses it to deal with people, to avoid stuff he doesn't want to face.
Makes him feel in control, maybe?
Could be. So back in his dorm at Pensy, he lived in this wing called the Ossenberger Memorial Wing.
What a mouthful.
It was named after this guy who made a ton of money in the undertaking business. Basically, a funeral director.
Okay.
But the thing is, Holden says this guy probably just shoved bodies in sacks and dumped them in the river.
Oh, wow.
So right away, his living space is connected to this shady character, right?
Another layer of that phoniness he hates.
Exactly. It's like the place itself is tainted for him.
I see. It's everywhere.
Then we meet his roommate and his neighbor, Ackley, the neighbor.
Okay.
He just gets on Holden's nerves right away, makes a sarcastic comment about the book Holden's reading.
Annoying.
And he's just clueless, you know? Holden wants to be alone, but Ackley keeps barging in.
No boundaries.
None. Ackley's like this gross, oblivious presence that Holden just can't stand.
Yeah, he's the opposite of what Holden wants.
Yeah, that real connection he craves.
Yeah.
So it shows how isolated Holden feels, even with people around him.
Alone in a crowd.
Exactly. Then there's Stradlater, Holden's roommate. He's all charming and friendly on the surface.
Okay.
But he asks Holden to write an English composition for him.
So he's using Holden.
And Holden notices how vain Stradlater is, how obsessed he is with his looks.
I see. Another type of phoniness.
Yeah, this confidence that's really just covering up a lack of depth.
The kind of popularity
Yeah.
that Holden
Yeah.
both hates and wants.
Exactly. So there's this scene in the bathroom. Stradlater shaving, whistling off key, totally pleased with himself.
Uh-huh.
And Holden sitting on the wash basin, messing with the faucets, all nervous.
Classic Holden anxiety.
And he's wearing this red hunting hat, peak turned backward.
that hat.
It's important, right?
It is. It's like his symbol
More individuality, yeah.
wanting to be different.
And that nervous fidgeting. More anxiety. So Stradlater, he asks Holden for a big favor. To write that composition for him. Holden's not thrilled, but he agrees. But the whole time, he's thinking about Jane Gallagher. He can't stop thinking about her. He says he feels like he ought to go down and say hello to her, at least.
There's history there.
Yeah, a deep connection.
Someone real from his past.
Exactly, as someone who wasn't phony. Now, Saturday nights at Pensy, they were a big deal.
Why?
They served steak.
Kratz.
But Holden thinks it's just to impress parents who are visiting on Sundays. The steaks, he says they're little hard, dry jobs, lumpy mashed potatoes, and this dessert called Brown Betty.
Oh, I hate Brown Betty.
Holden says no one with any sense actually likes it, except maybe little kids in Ackley.
Makes sense.
So again, the reality doesn't live up to the hype.
Pensy fails to deliver, at least for Holden.
Big time. Okay, so now Holden's getting more and more worked up about Stradlater's date with Jane.
He's worried.
Super worried. Can't focus on anything else. He even feels like he has to use the bathroom because he's so anxious.
Oh, wow.
But he's too anxious to actually go. He doesn't want to interrupt his worrying.
The anxiety is that bad.
It's eating him up.
It really shows how much he cares about Jane.
And how little he trusts Stradlater.
Right.
So Stradlater finally gets back from his date. He's late and doesn't say anything about Jane at first. He just thanks Holden for the jacket he borrowed and asks if the composition's done.
Avoiding the subject.
Totally. Then he starts reading it all while stroking his bare chest and stomach, like super mad about himself.
Ugh. So self-absorbed.
Completely oblivious to how freaked out Holden is.
Typical Stradlater.
Finally, Holden can't take it anymore. He's like, did you make Jane late getting back to her dorm?
Okay.
Because she was only signed out until 9:30.
Good question.
But Stradlater just says, couple minutes. And then in this sarcastic tone, he's like, Who the hell signs out for 9:30 on a Saturday night?
Oh, no.
It's like he's totally dismissing Jane's boundaries and Holden's concern.
Invalidating.
And Holden just explodes. He's shaking with anger. He accuses Stradlater of giving her the time in Ed Behnke's car.
Whoa, he went there?
But Stradlater just smirks and says sarcastic stuff, which, of course, makes things worse.
It's like he's confirming Holden's fears.
Yeah, that Jane wasn't treated right.
It's like a violation.
That's exactly how Holden feels. He's so protective of Jane.
And loyal to those he cares about.
Yeah, this isn't just like he's a little mad.
Huh.
He feels like Stradlater did something to him personally.
So what happens? Do they fight?
Oh, yeah. Holden tries to punch Stradlater.
Oh.
But misses and only hits the side of his head. Then Stradlater goes after him, gives him a bloody nose.
No.
Holden later says he can't make a good fist with his right hand because of some old injury. So he's outmatched.
He's trying to protect Jane, though, right?
Yeah, it's this desperate attempt to defend her.
To get his anger out.
Even though it's clumsy, it shows how intense his emotions are.
He's all bottled up.
So after the fight, he's feeling rotten and damn lonesome. He goes to Ackley's room, hoping for, I don't know.
Some comfort.
Yeah, some understanding. But Ackley, as usual,
Useless.
he's just annoying, totally self-absorbed. So Holden's even more alone now.
Ackley just doesn't get it.
At all. And it's right then, in that moment of sadness, that Holden decides to leave Pensy.
Right there.
That night, he can't stay there anymore. His plan is to go to a cheap hotel in New York City
Run away.
and stay there until Wednesday. He figures by then his parents will have gotten Dr. Thurmer's letter
Right.
and thoroughly digested it. He wants to avoid that initial explosion, especially from his mom. He says she gets very hysterical.
Avoiding confrontation. Classic Holden.
Totally. So he packs his stuff, but then he does something kind of considerate.
What's that?
He wakes up another student, Frederick Woodruff, to get his typewriter back.
He borrowed it.
Yeah. It's a small thing, but it shows a little bit of responsibility, right?
Amidst the chaos.
Yeah. So he's on the train to New York, and guess who he runs into?
Who?
Ernest Morrow's mother. Now, Holden doesn't want to have a whole conversation with her.
Makes sense.
So he makes up a name, Rudolf Schmidt.
Where'd he get that from?
The janitor at Pensy, haha. Then, get this, he starts talking about Ernest, calling him a bastard,
Whoa.
and says Ernest likes to snap people with wet towels.
Sounds accurate.
Probably is. But then to his mother, he paints this picture of Ernest as this shy, modest, great kid.
Two-faced.
Totally. Shows you how good he is at lying.
He's got skills.
And then he says this cynical thing about mothers, how they're all slightly insane.
Oh, Holden.
But here's the thing. Mrs. Morrow, she's actually really worried about Rudolph. She thinks he's been called home because someone's sick.
Oh, that's kind of sweet.
It is. Even though it's all based on a lie, Holden seems to feel a little guilty.
Maybe there's hope for him.
So he gets to Penn Station, all these people rushing around, and he has this urge to call someone.
To connect.
But he can't decide who. His brother, DB's in Hollywood, his little sister, Phoebe, she'd be asleep.
Right.
He doesn't want to call Jane's mother. And if he calls Sally Hayes, he's worried her mom will answer.
So he's stuck.
Totally isolated. Then he gets in a cab, and he asks the driver about the ducks in Central Park.
The ducks again.
He keeps asking where do they go when the lagoon freezes.
He's obsessed.
And the driver just thinks he's crazy.
Poor Holden.
Yeah, it's like this huge disconnect between what Holden's worried about and what the adult world cares about.
Practical stuff.
Exactly. So Holden asks to be taken to a hotel on the West Side.
Why there?
He doesn't want to run into anyone he knows. He wants to be incognito.
Trying to blend in.
He even admits that word is corny, but he uses it around people he thinks are corny.
Self-aware, at least.
Right. He knows he's doing the thing he hates. Then he calls a prostitute.
Really?
Yeah, but it's awkward. She thinks he's already engaged.
Oh, wow.
And comments on how young he sounds. The conversation goes nowhere, and he ends up feeling even more alone.
Makes sense.
Like it just confirms his bad opinion of adults.
So what does he do next?
He goes to this nightclub, the Lavender Room, but he's immediately disappointed.
What's wrong with it?
He doesn't like the band, Buddy Singer. The crowd's mostly older people.
Not his scene.
And then there are these three girls at the next table,
Okay.
Marty, Laverne, and Bernice. And he decides right away that they're boring and shallow.
Another letdown.
He tries talking to them, but their answers are all surface level.
What are they talking about?
They're more excited about seeing movie stars than having a real conversation.
Typical.
He remembers these specific things they said. They were freaking out about maybe seeing Peter Lorre.
Uh-huh.
They used that phrase, little girl's room, for
Yeah.
the bathroom. Bernice was making comments about the clarinet player's licorice stick. It's also fake and annoying to him.
I get it. He just wants a genuine interaction.
Exactly. And he's disappointed that they're so eager to go to Radio City Music Hall. He's like, why would you come all the way to New York from Seattle for that?
He has these expectations, right?
Yeah, of what New York should be.
Of excitement, real experiences.
And these girls, they just represent everything he hates.
The mundane.
The phony. So basically, right after leaving Pensy, Holden's life is this mix of bad decisions, meeting phony people, and feeling totally lonely.
It's like he escaped one bad situation just to land in another.
Yeah, and it really highlights why he left Pensy in the first place.
He couldn't stand the fakeness.
And he's realizing that same fakeness is everywhere.
Yeah, it's not just Pensy, it's the world.
But here's something to think about. Underneath all that cynicism, Holden's really sensitive.
Okay, I see that.
He's worried about the ducks. He remembers that nice moment with Mr. Spencer in the blanket. We know he has this deep connection with his little sister, Phoebe.
And he reacts so strongly to phoniness.
Exactly. It all shows you something about what he really values, what he needs.
The question is, what's next for Holden?
Right. He can't run away forever. He's got to figure out how to deal with the world.
It's going to be interesting to see what happens.
Definitely a lot to think about.